You're listening to 88.7 WNHU West Haven, Connecticut's #1 college radio station.
We're back on the UNHstable. It's Dr. Christian and friends. We have a lot to talk about today. The first on our list, there's a lot of stuff going on in Indiana right now that has the nation in an uproar, justifiably so.
We're going to have a fight about this one,
Mm-hmm.
which we usually don't because we usually agree, but I think we need to leave Indiana alone.
All right, so for those who don't know what we're talking about, could you preface the situation?
Yes. Indiana passed, like more than 20 other states, a Religious Freedom Restoration Act into law. Not unlike our own state and other states, their wording is a little bit different. I actually printed out the text of the bill and compared it to my own home state. Basically allowing businesses to cite religious beliefs as a legal defense. The entire country has gotten, I'm going to try not to be ugly, in an uproar about what's going on in Indiana, and our own governor yesterday signed an executive order stopping state travel funds being used to go to the state of Indiana because he doesn't like what the governor of Indiana signed into law. Frankly, I think this is crap. I think states should be allowed to pass their own laws. Do we want people telling Connecticut what they can and can't do? I mean, that's how I see this.
Now, are you upset more at the public's reaction to Indiana passing it, or are you more upset with the governor's reaction? What's miffing you more?
I'm upset about all of it, and this just goes to, we've talked about this before, and you guys can chime in anytime you want to, that very few people have read the text of this law. It reminds me of when everybody got bent out of shape about Phil Robertson's comments in GQ magazine about his own religious and beliefs about homosexuals. You know what? You don't have to go to Indiana, but we shouldn't feel like we have the right to control what Indiana does. The media coverage has been unfair. I know the governor now has backtracked and he's going to clear up the language, but I read the text of the law, and nowhere in here do I get the feeling that this is going to allow for people to discriminate personally against someone for their sexual preferences. I just don't see it. In fact, I don't see anything in here as strong as, the bill that was passed last year in Mississippi. It's not going to usurp any higher law. So I don't see what all the fuss is about. It's not going to allow someone who owns a business like Truett Cathy and Chick-fil-A, which happened a couple years ago. It's not going to allow someone to discriminate because they think someone is gay or lesbian. I just don't see that. I don't see that problem, and I think the media has been unjustly characterizing this bill. That's my 2 cents.
What confuses me is if this bill that was signed into law in Indiana truly does not allow for discrimination, then why, when the public first started crying out about it, did the governor not shut it down immediately then? I saw an interview where he would not give a straight yes or no answer as to whether discrimination could come from this law.
Perhaps he's as incensed as I am that it was even something that people would think. In fact, his laws say that's offensive to me as a Hoosier. It's a mischaracterization perpetrated by the media and the law's opponents. It's a religious freedom law, clarifying it does not allow businesses to deny service to anyone. Insisted he never intended to discriminate. I just don't understand. I really don't understand. I'm not in favor of any kind of discrimination either, but I do think in the last few years we have seen many instances of the encroachment on people's and businesses' religious freedoms. And I think that that's what these laws are intended for. And Indiana's is no different to me. I mean, I do have common sense. Perhaps that's the problem. I just don't see it. And I think the problem is the media jumps on this bandwagon, and then all of them repeat what the others said, and nobody really bothered to go and read it. I mean, I think that if you go back and read it, I dare say the majority of reporters who have offered commentary on this haven't read it. Y'all can speak.
I mean, I didn't read this one. But I think that the media just has a, I don't know, they always just seem to have their own opinion, and they don't really go into the facts really. And like, I mean, whether it's this story or another story, you know, they never really go into the deep facts about what's really going on. Underneath everything, it kind of construes what other medias are putting out as well. So
right, I do. I think they
I think that's the media in general,
without really getting all their facts straight. And on the other hand, it does tick me off. And I know, you know, I am from a more conservative area of the country, but it does tick me off when we clearly have a federal system of government. States have the rights to do certain things, and the federal government has the right to do certain things. And with the issue of gay marriage, of course, overwhelmingly is being taken out of the hands of the states, which, if you look at the Constitution, it's pretty clear it shouldn't be a federal right. It's not given to the federal government. Therefore, it should be reserved for the states. This is the same type of issue. States have the right constitutionally to pass these laws for what happens in their borders. And to me, it is an error for a governor of another state to decide to impose his will on residents of the other state, businesses in the other state. I have a big problem with that.
I mean, it goes into show that, you know, we do have a problem when it comes to, you know, our saying in the Constitution is, you know, it's separation of church and state. Well, you know, it's clearly not happening.
Right.
You know, you can see, it clearly shows that, you know, if there's going to be some kind of discrimination, regardless of what group it is, you know, there's discrimination there.
Yeah.
And nobody's stopping it because all they're doing is arguing, and they're not actually listening to each other.
Yeah, I mean, not to trivialize this issue, but let's just say the governor of Indiana and the Indiana legislature decided that they don't want any funds going to Connecticut because people travel to Connecticut on state business, for instance, and spend too much money in pizza places and bars because we have too many of those. I mean, are we really going to start letting every governor nitpick what other states are doing? To me, that is the fundamental problem that I see here.
It's one thing to take a stand against someone else's views and actions, but it's another to sign it into law. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I think that Malloy overstepped his bounds. He could say his opinion just like celebrities say their opinion, and they have no power of law. But to sign an executive order, what if there was an upcoming conference that some state employee was going to go to in Indiana that hadn't been approved yet? That means that person, if they're going to that conference, would now have to pay for it themselves because it's in Indiana. That's ridiculous. It reminds me of when Michael Moore called for a boycott of the entire state of Georgia because they put Troy Davis to death. Now, I am not for the death penalty. I do believe the governor should have put a stay on his execution. But to punish the entire state of Georgia, people need to make a living in the state of Georgia. A lot of people disagreed with what the governor did there. We're going to punish the entire state and not do any business with them? That's what I see here. Finally, one more thing I want to add, and I know I got really upset about this. The governor of Indiana did say that he doesn't support adding additional protections explicitly barring discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity, and a lot of people have pounced on him for that. But basically what he's saying is that equal rights mean equal rights, and not to pass a law specifically making it illegal to discriminate or harass someone because of their sexual orientation. And while that may not sound like a bad thing to pass that additional law, I want to give you one example of why it shouldn't be. When I worked in Louisiana, I was for 8 months harassed and bullied by a fellow employee of a state institution. I went to my superiors all the way up the line to see what I could do about it. And I was told, because I was not a member of a protected class of people, I wasn't being harassed because of my race, because of my gender, because of my religious preferences. Because of that, I did not have a case for harassment. That's what happens when we start making these specific groups that it's not okay to mistreat. It's not okay to treat equally. That's what happens. Somebody can't file a suit or file a grievance just because they're being harassed by somebody who's a hateful human being. And that is basically what Pence is saying here, is that everyone should have the same rights and the same protections. So I support the governor of Indiana.
We'll be right back on the UNHstable. We have Foreigner with Prisoner of Love. Keep it locked right here on WNHU West Haven. We're back on the UNHstable. It's Dr. Christian and friends.
Yay! Everyone's favorite day of the week.
Pretty gray out today.
It was sunny this morning.
Oh, that's good.
At least it didn't snow.
Oh my god.
Knock on wood.
I know we better because it probably will.
Yeah, yesterday I woke up and it was like flurrying outside. I'm like, this is not spring.
Yeah, we don't want any powder on the ground. Speaking of powder, that was a horrible transition.
That was really bad.
But speaking of powder, there is a new phenomenon going around that is powdered alcohol.
Yes.
Alcohol.
I think that's a terrible idea.
It sounds like nothing good can come from it.
Yeah.
To me,
That's
it
accurate.
sounds like what people could put into drinks, like a roofie, essentially. That's what I thought
Right.
That's what I originally thought they were talking about. But no, powdered alcohol is just a regular thing, able to be sold like on the internet
No.
On the internet.
I don't
under
think-
Palcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
States
like
can regulate
powdered
that.
alcohol is probably like gonna have similar kind of effects as like, you know, just like date rape drugs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because it's like, oh well, you're either drugged or you're drugged in a way that's alcohol. So either way, you're going to be your body is going to be inhibited and you're not going to be able to make decisions.
Right.
And of course, it always looks so kid friendly. Like it looks like pixie stick dust, as
Yeah.
most of the things do.
Right. Well, I think they could seal it in a tin bag right by the Crystal Light drink mix stuff.
Ooh, mommy, can I have some Pop Rocks and Palcohol?
Seriously.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Although I did think about this from a personal standpoint that I would have a class full of students like drinking flavored water, but it's really alcohol water.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. I thought college students like
Right. That's what I thought.
even
at
though
first.
it's like some buildings are dry, they'll just have it in their room and all they need is a water bottle.
Right. It makes it easier than having to, smoke a joint since we're fixing to be a smoke-free campus. Joints will be more noticeable. So now we can do this.
Yeah, but I mean, is it really any different? I mean, people smuggle in alcohol or whatever to the dorms anyway. How much easier is it now to just smuggle in powder? Like, what are they going to do? Search every single bag right down to the, the last
Not
pencil
even
or
it.
whatever?
They could hide it in like their jeans.
Exactly.
No, what's worrisome to
And there's
me...
no way to you'd
Yeah.
need like a dog at every door.
What's worrisome... Can dogs sniff out powdered alcohol?
Well, if they're
I bet
trained.
they can be trained.
Yeah.
And I figure powder alcohol probably has similar properties as regular alcohol, just doesn't have the liquid content.
What worries me, though, it's kind of similar to energy drinks. There's so much of the potentially harmful things in the energy drinks, and if you have too much of it, you could seriously go into some sort of like serious medical emergency.
Right.
I can see that happening so easily with this powdered alcohol. Just one spoonful too many mixed into your glass there. It looks fruity, it looks nice, but you
Right.
might end up like blacking out.
This may be safer than energy drinks, actually. The interesting thing is the spokesman for the company, which is out of, I believe, Arizona.
Yep.
Something like
Arizona, said in a statement, "We believe powdered alcohol is actually safer than liquid alcohol," but he doesn't elaborate on that at all.
I wonder
Which I think is
why.
interesting.
Because it's probably actually harmful.
Yeah. The interesting thing to me in the article I read out of Hartford is almost all of the opposition in Connecticut is around economics. It's not about the things that we've been talking about, which as a mother, of course, are concerning to me. The safety, being drunk, accidents, those kinds of things. Every single one of the people in this article that was spoken to, whether it's a business owner of a bar or restaurant, or if it's someone involved in state government, every single one of the complaints has to do with economics and taxation. It doesn't have anything to do with safety and sobriety.
Okay.
Oh, no, of course not.
On one side, that's very worrisome, wondering where their mindsets are. But on the other side, if that's what it takes to get this stuff banned, can we really argue against that? I mean, if it ends up getting banned, it's the same end game.
Well, I I don't know. I disagree because I think when we start banning products because our state's not going to make any money off of it, I don't know where that stops.
True.
I feel
That's
like
how I saw it. Like, not as an alcohol product, but okay, where does that stop?
Yeah,
Right.
but
Because
if it,
interstate commerce is legal. So,
if it has the same repercussions as regular alcohol, though, I wouldn't see why, you don't need a license or, you can't sell it just as the way, you sell regular alcohol. Because at this point, it's like, how much of it has been sold? What's the research that's been done on it? How does it affect people?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean,
Right.
yes, it's powdered alcohol, but what does that actually mean?
right, we're right. Well, we don't know. It's such a new product. But an interesting thing, and Cassie kind of alluded to this, I believe, about internet sales. So we all know that, states do regulate alcohol sales in their confines. So I have actually tried to buy local made wine and ship it to my friends and family in other states. And you can't ship it just anywhere you want to. However, even if this is banned for sale in the state of Connecticut, I am curious if you go online and buy it either through the company or some other dealer. I mean, there's all kind of third-party retail sites out there.
Right.
If the person you buy from is willing to ship it to Connecticut, that's really not going to stop the problem of not making money anyway.
Right.
So,
There's so many complicated routes when it comes to business. That's why that's one of the last things I want to do, open up a
Right.
business.
yeah.
So many different laws to navigate, make sure you're doing everything right.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
We also have something else to talk about. Something happened at Connecticut College recently.
Yes.
Something quite interesting.
Yes. In fact, it was yesterday. Actually, the event happened, I believe, over the weekend. But the president of Connecticut College canceled classes Monday because over the weekend, racist graffiti was discovered. And so she decided to cancel classes and instead schedule a series of events, quote, to promote discussion and eradicate this ignorance and hatred. So I'm not sure exactly how canceling classes all day promotes eradication of ignorance and hatred at all. But yeah, that's what they did.
My first thought was, how many snow days did they have on
Well,
Mondays?
yeah, that's what I thought about too.
Because we
Like,
had a
people who had
ton.
nothing to do with this incident,
Who would go to like
faculty and students were affected by this, which maybe was only done by one or very few students. And I am not condoning racist speech at all. However, racist speech is not illegal, and we seem to have forgotten that in this country. And I'm talking about any kind of racist speech, black, white, ethnic hate speech. It's not illegal. And this goes back to our SAE conversation too. Catherine Bergeron is the president of the college, and this is so interesting to me that she canceled the classes to make sure that they have dialogue about racism, and she says we must take action immediately to expose and eradicate this ignorance and hatred. Yet she also argued in favor of, and many people think that this is a follow-up to an incident that happened a few weeks ago. A professor at Connecticut College posted what was taken as a slur about the Gaza Strip. She argued in favor of that professor having a right to free speech, and yet then she says, well, in this instant, we're not going to tolerate racist and hateful speech to the point that we're going to cancel classes. So which is it? Is it I'm going to support Professor Andrew Pessin and his right to free speech and to make a post that said the Gaza Strip is comparing it to a rabid pit bull because of its repeated efforts to destroy Israel and the Jews? So she supported his right to say that without saying what he said was okay. She supported that, but that's hateful speech too. And we don't know, of course, what the racist graffiti was, but I mean, sometimes we just gotta suck it up and not like what people say.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't condone the racist graffitier, because I mean that's
Right.
yes, it's bad. But to cancel classes for an entire day, I don't think that it's that kind of issue.
Right.
You know, it's not the same as, as other things that would be, like, bad weather because, students can't get there, or there's some kind of threat on the campus or something. That's worth canceling classes for. But graffiti, that's just something you can tell, all the...
I swear this is going to sound silly, but this is what it made me think of. When I was in school, and we may have had one or two since I've been here, but when I was your age, the thing that people did to get classes canceled was they'd call in a fake bomb threat. Now nobody has to go to all that trouble. All they have to do is go write some ugly word in a bathroom stall.
That's where it was a bathroom stall?
I believe it was in a bathroom stall.
Yeah,
yes,
see,
in a bathroom
You
stall.
never see graffiti in bathroom stalls.
And I'm thinking,
I mean,
could
that
you not go to any bathroom stall anywhere and see something that's ugly to some group?
That happened probably about, I don't know, every single day in my high school. And guess what? We didn't cancel classes for that. They had our janitors or whatever, just paint right over it, which is what they should have done here.
Yeah,
paint over it, get a new door, whatever. It takes 5 minutes. It doesn't need the entire day to do that.
For the 2,000 or so people that were affected at Connecticut College, the faculty and the students, 99.999% who had nothing to do with this, to give the person who wrote that, the offender, this much attention, I just think it's calling for more people to do such acts, frankly, like the bomb scare. It works. Well, let's go write ugly words about groups that we don't like on the bathroom stall so we don't have to go to class today. This is childish. I mean, we need to educate people in a productive way.
And honestly, with this kind of behavior from the school itself, it's kind of encouraging people to do that.
Right.
Somebody did that just to cancel classes. Imagine what else I could do to maybe it'll get canceled for a week or something.
Whoever wrote it is being rewarded with getting classes canceled.
Exactly.
Because do they think that they're just going to voluntarily? They're not forcing people to go to this like diversity and racism talk. They're just going to voluntarily show up. Oh, I am sorry for writing this hateful graffiti. I will never do it again.
I mean, honestly, are they gonna? Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. Yeah.
Honestly, are they gonna go through every single room in the dorms and make every single person go to this talk?
Yeah.
No, those people who did that aren't gonna show up. Are you kidding
and this
me?
kind of
Even
reaction,
the people who did that, they're not going to show up.
this kind of
Yeah.
reaction to me doesn't promote understanding. It just doesn't.
No,
I mean, it doesn't change a heart, and that's what we're talking about. It doesn't change people's hearts.
no.
Racist people aren't going to be affected by canceling classes and such.
And we have plenty more to talk about on the UNHstable right after this song. It's going to be Alcohol by Brad Paisley. Keep it locked right here on WNHU West Haven.
I can make anybody pretty. I can make you believe any lie. I can make you pick a fight with somebody twice your size. Well, I've been known to cause a few breakups, and I've been known to cause a few births. I can make you new friends or get you fired from work. And since the day I left Milwaukee, Lynchburg and Bordeaux, France, been making the bars lots of big money and helping white people dance. Got you in trouble in high school, but college now, that was a ball. You had some of the best times you'll never remember with me. Alcohol, I got blamed at your wedding reception desk man's embarrassing speech, and also for those naked pictures of you at the beach. I've influenced kings and world leaders. I helped Hemingway write like he did. And I'll bet you a drink or two that I can make you put that lampshade on your head. 'Cause since the day I left Milwaukee, Lynchburg, Bordeaux, France, I've been making a fool out of folks just like you, and helping white people dance. I am medicine and I am poison. I can help you up or make you fall. You had some of the best times you'll never remember with me. Alcohol. Yeah, since the day I left Milwaukee, Lynchburg, Bordeaux, France, been making the bars lots of big money. Yeah, I got you in trouble in high school. College now, that was a ball. You had some of the best times you'll never remember with me.
Back on the UNHstable. It's Dr. Christian and friends.
There's that big smile on her face.
We need to go into syndication.
What?
Be picked up all over the country.
That'd be nice. All right, so what is one of the top international stories going on?
So a lot of people have probably heard about the investigation that's going into the crash of the Germanwings flight 9525. It's been revealing that the co-pilot has had locked the pilot out of the cockpit when he went to use the bathroom, and basically crashed the plane on purpose, which wound up killing all 150 passengers on the plane.
Yeah,
wow.
It's really very hard to believe story. It's so awful.
What I find interesting is I read an article saying that the co-pilot, I'm probably going to pronounce his last name wrong, but his name was Andreas Lubitz. It said that he suffered from like suicidal tendencies in his youth and went through therapy and whatnot, but when he went to go take his pilot test or something like that, so he could fly planes, they only tested him for like physical instead of psychological, which I feel is probably a mistake on their part.
Right, and it's surprising to me.
Especially after the events of 9/11, and they've been a little more security has been put in place for these kinds of things. They made the cockpit more secure so people couldn't enter, security before you get into the airport's even more secure. But, are they even thinking about, yes, somebody has the physical ability to do something like that, but what about the mental capacity?
Right.
They're not even thinking about that.
In this story, I'm sorry, it says that his girlfriend had told like the investigators that he had seen an eye doctor and a neuropsychologist before like the plane crash, and both deemed him unfit to work.
See,
And yet he was working.
Yeah,
Yep.
he went under psychotherapy as
Yeah.
as a youth.
Yeah.
And you know, according to some doctors or whatever, he was better, but not like, you know, fit for these kinds of things.
But the fact that there is a paper trail documenting it and that the experts deemed him unfit, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine the lawsuits.
I'm not going to lie, this sounds a lot like a Criminal Minds episode waiting to happen.
Yes, it does. It's so tragic too, because I feel like, you know, when horrible tragedies happen and the person suffered from some kind of mental illness, the sad thing that happens is we respond to everyone who suffers from mental illness as if the person's some sort of pariah, when, you know, his reaction, of course, to his psychosis or whatever was going on is so unusual. And it worries me that other people who suffer from anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, etc., if the media doesn't handle this well, and as we've talked about earlier today, the media doesn't often handle things appropriately, I'm afraid that it will deter people from seeking help. That's my fear. And I suffer. I have no problem admitting it, because I think if more people admitted it, we wouldn't have this sort of stigma. I have anxiety and depression. I take medication every day. I go to therapy when I need to, and I take care of myself so that I am a productive member of society who, you know, finds this repulsive. But if we put this off on, oh, he had mental illness, then that stigma gets greater, rather than, okay, he suffered from mental illness, but clearly there were more things going on with this young man.
Yeah. With this article, it says that some airline officials said that if the co-pilot had went to a doctor on his own instead of being forced to see one to get his his recertification, I guess, to fly, he would have been more comfortable to say that, you know, I'm not deemed to fly. But when he's forced to, you know, I guess he felt a little uncomfortable and, you know, lied.
Right.
Which, I mean, it kind of puts another stigma on, you know, society. It's like, well, why wasn't he comfortable doing that on his own, you know? And why did they have to force him to go to a doctor, you know? It's the way they handle things nowadays is kind of scary.
All right, we will be right back on the UNHstable right here on WNHU. We're going to play Airplanes by B.O.B.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
Yeah, I could use a dream or a genie or a wish to go back to a place much simpler than this. Cause after all the partying and smashing and crashing, and all the glitz and the glam and the fashion, and all the pandemonium and all the madness, there comes a time where you fade to the blackness. And when you staring at that phone in your lap, and you hoping but them people never call you back. But that's just how the story unfolds. You get another hand soon after you fold. And when your plans unravel in the sand, what would you wish for if you had one chance? So airplane, sorry I'm late. I'm on my way, so don't close that gate. If I don't make that, then I switch my flight, and I'll be right back at it by the end of the night.
That airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars. I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
Yeah, somebody take me back to the days before this was a job, before I got paid, before it ever mattered what I had in my bank. Yeah, back when I was trying to get a tip at Subway, and back when I was rapping for the hell of it. But nowadays we rapping to stay relevant. I'm guessing that if we can make some wishes out of airplanes, then maybe, maybe I go back to the days before the politics that we call the rap game. And back when ain't nobody listened to my mixtape. And back before I tried to cover up my slang. But this is for Decatur, what's up, Bobby Ray? So can I get a wish to end the politics and get back to the music that started this? So here I stand, and then again I say, I'm hoping we can make some wishes out of airplanes.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
I could really use a wish right now, right now. Like shooting stars. I can really use a wish right now. A wish right now.
We're back on the UNHstable. It's Dr. Christian and Friends. Oh, this is good intro music. All right, next up we have Glenn Ford. Would you like to talk about Glenn Ford?
Yes, I realize like every topic we pick today is really, really depressing.
Yeah,
but important.
But that's why we play happy music.
Yeah, but important. Glenn Ford was incarcerated at Angola, Louisiana State Prison, for more than 30 years. He was exonerated about a year or so ago, and has been suing for his restitution. For those of you who don't know, if a person is exonerated on innocence, they, depending on the state that they're imprisoned in, are paid for that time as compensation for, the loss of their life. In Louisiana, the law is $25,000 a year for every year that you're wrongfully incarcerated, with a lifetime cap of $250,000. So essentially 10 years they will compensate you for. The sad thing about Glenn Ford is he is now a 65-year-old man who probably will be dead within a year, and he is having to spend this time fighting for what the state owes him. In fact, the state owes him far more than $250,000. They have denied his claims to the money. Even the prosecutor in his case has written a letter on his behalf that he deserves every penny of the money. But a judge denied it, saying that his hands weren't clean, that because he knew the people who participated in the murder and didn't own up to that his hands are dirty and he doesn't deserve any of the money. So it's appalling to me that this man has served more than half of his life since 1984 in state prison. He now has stage 4 lung cancer, and arguably him not being caught and treated earlier also lies at the feet of the state. But that's just my 2 cents. Y'all know I get really passionate about this kind of stuff.
It seems they don't know what the phrase wrongful conviction means.
Right.
Like it seems like the prosecutor or a judge who said that because they knew the person.
Yeah, it's appalling to me.
It seems like they're just on their own, just saying, "Oh no, he definitely was like still charged with like conspiracy or accomplice to whatever."
Right.
But wrongful conviction. He has not been convicted of said crimes, and even if he was, pretty sure he served enough time to make up for those trivial made-up charges.
Well, I mean, that's right. Even
Exactly.
if he were an accomplice, even if he knew about it and were guilty by association, I mean, how many years is that worth, really? How many years does he have to serve? It reminds me of the case we talked about a few weeks ago where the guy had a wrongful conviction and they wouldn't let him out because he didn't serve 3 years for the darn sink.
Yeah. Wait, that's what I thought when you brought the story up. I thought it was the same story, but it was a different state.
I mean, clearly the state is at fault. The former prosecutor, A.M. Stroud, wrote a tearjerker of a letter of apology to Mr. Ford for his right in the wrongful termination. It's so sad, and he's separately suing Louisiana State Prison because of his cancer not being aggressively treated. So essentially, this man has been stripped of everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking about, okay, he's free now with stage 4 lung cancer. But after serving this many years for a murder conviction, he has no access to housing. This stuff follows you, even if you're found innocent. He can't apply for government assistance. He still can't vote. His access to jobs. He has lost access to his family, his peace of mind. I mean, these prisoners who get out after so many years, a lot of them suffer from post-traumatic stress. And this is not isolated. I know we've talked about this before, but this is not isolated. Since 1973, there have been 151 death row exonerations. Just people on death row. So as you guys know, most people don't get sentenced to death. They get sentenced to life or a very long sentence if they're convicted of murder. I'm talking about just the people sentenced to death. Since 1973, 151 of them have been found innocent of their crimes through DNA evidence. 10 of those have been in the state of Louisiana. So that's a pretty high percentage for a very small state. Louisiana has had one of the highest exoneration rates since 1990. 29 people have been exonerated due to innocence in the state of Louisiana. Not just death row, but 29 people. And many of them have been 10, 20, 30 plus year sentences. It is unconscionable that the state is going to fight this.
And and it's not enough to, obviously to the state that he has, he's already lost all of those things, but to top it off, now he has stage 4 cancer.
Keep on. I mean, we're keeping on kicking him.
Yeah, it's just like, you want to kick him down even more. It's like, well, he just got his innocence back, and then, where's he going to go from there? Who knows if his friends are still alive, if his family is still alive. He doesn't know any of that. Not unless they were if he was staying in contact with them, while he was in there, but we don't know that.
Yeah, and statistics show that the longer you're in, the fewer people you do have still communication with. I'm sure his parents probably passed away while he was in there. And statistics, show that, your mother, especially if you're incarcerated for a long distance away, and this happened in Caddo Parish, which is a very far distance from where Angola Prison is, a poor person's family isn't going to have a lot of access. And after 37 years, he probably had few or no visitors still.
Right. So...
All right, we'll be back with one more topic right here on the UNHstable. We have Everlast with, aptly, Folsom Prison Blues. Keep it right here on WNHU West Haven.
Sunshine since I don't know when. Now I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on. And that train just keeps rolling on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't never play with guns, but I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. was mine. I'm proud to move it just a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I long to stay. And I'd hit that lonesome whistle, blow out my blues away.
We are back on the UNHstable. It's Dr. Christian and Friends. I don't think there's going to be words in this intro music. All right, so now we have to talk about of younger and definitely not as smart people, and that is selfies, especially inappropriate selfies. And I'm not talking just inappropriate pictures like sexting. No, I'm talking about inappropriate places and times to take
Heartless,
a selfie.
evil
Disrespectful.
selfies.
Like, where are these people taking selfies?
I'm so this made the cover of the New York Post.
And I thought taking a selfie at a funeral was bad enough, which I have seen multiple times.
Hey, look, one last picture with Uncle Frank.
No, they don't even mention Uncle Frank. They say, "Oh, all decked out," and oh yeah, there's a casket in the background.
Right. In
That
fact,
is inappropriate.
Some people are calling the selfies that were taken at the East Village gas explosion in New York disaster porn, which I think is actually a nice term considering just how unbelievably heartless these people were. And it's not just isolated. I mean, there's a dozen people that they talked to who literally went out. Some traveled to the place to, like it was a tourist attraction, to take their picture in front of the building while emergency responders are still looking for bodies.
Yeah, in the New York Post, the pictures with the selfie stick. Then in the background, you could still see like the flames.
You
just
can. It's
wrong.
unbelievable.
It's one thing to take a picture of like an emergency that's happening. It's another to what's a good word? Glamorize.
Right. And that's the problem. I mean,
I wouldn't say humorize necessarily.
yeah. Well, as a journalist, I actually, journalists are morbid people. I get the fascination with tragedy, which is kind of a sickness. But this is something different. It does kind of glamorize it, like, oh, we're going to this tourist place and taking our picture in front of it. Really? It's just, it's sick. An interesting thing in this, though, is thanks to the internet and social media, many of these people have been identified. The most interesting of which is the communications director for the Iowa Democratic Party, who has been outed. She refused to answer calls from the New York Post. But I thought, Iowa, is the first place we go for the presidential caucus. And here she is, the communications director for the Iowa Democrats, giving the peace sign in front of the site.
Hashtag
I would think
blazing.
She's been fired since this happened 2 days ago. I don't know. It doesn't bode well. It doesn't speak well for Iowa Democrats if that's their communications director. And then there are other people that are actually named. One of them, a woman who lives in Brooklyn, actually took to Facebook, posted some of the pictures of these people, and told people to look at them and remember their faces. They don't deserve They don't deserve those smiles. People are dying behind them. I think it's interesting that they've been outed. One other thing I wanted to mention is one of the people who was identified, Jeannie Slade, actually her hashtags about it when she and a friend posed were being tourists and we're so creepy. She later told the Post when asked about her actions that she called it satire and said that her heart goes out to the people of New York and the satire post was in poor taste. My intention was to point out how many people post selfies in inappropriate times and it backfired. That is BS. I don't believe for a second that she was doing it to show how people do inappropriate things. Really?
The only people who can successfully pull off satire, and even then, not always, are comedians and publicized satirists.
Right. And
which
that was
I
not
mean,
satire. Clearly.
Unless she's trying to get into the business, which she's had a bad start doing. That is not satire. That is just inappropriate on so many levels.
I'm curious. From a professional standpoint, I am curious how many of these people get in trouble with their work.
More so now.
Mm-hmm. So, Christina, have fun looking for another job.
Well, there was actually another story. It doesn't have anything to do with this, but there was a group of female cops who I think got suspended or something because they were taking inappropriate pictures while they were in uniform.
Right. Yeah, every now and then you'll see a story about, somebody getting in trouble from their social media post, which is, why we caution younger people really to think about it, because employers do go on there. And journalists clearly
a lot of government positions, they'll just ask you to log on to your social media and, they'll search your thing right there. It doesn't take that long to find, a picture or a post or something about something that you did that you probably really shouldn't have.
Maybe we should cancel classes and have an all-day forum about correct and appropriate social media.
Do you know how many people would show up? I could count them on my hands.
I could picture someone taking a selfie with the thumbs down saying, "Guess who's not going to such and such talk?"
Yeah, and then you can take a selfie when you get there saying, "Look I'm one of 10 people that showed up."
You just show the empty seats behind you. Packed auditorium. Now that's satire.
That's satire.
That is satire.
That is satire.
There you go.
All right, we will be back next week right here on WNHU. This has been the UNHstable, Dr. Christian and Friends. Keep it locked right here on WNHU 88.7 FM, West Haven, Connecticut's #1 college radio station. We're going to play you out with Heartless by Kanye West. Have a nice day. Just kidding.